Right now I'm working in the timeline view, and I want to show you some new features that are available on the soundtrack with the mute sound buttons and the link and unlink buttons. The first thing I'll show you is that this button right over here will either play the sound, or if you click it so that's a shadow, it's now muted. So I'm going to click on it to display the sound or to play the sound. And when I do that, I can press play. The world just happened here. And of course I hear what's going on. If I unclick it and press play, I don't hear anything at all. So you may want to be working on your project without having to hear the soundtrack. So something else that happens with this is, alternatively, if you use the Alt button and click, instead of muting this, I'm going to press the Alt button and it'll mute everything else except for this. So I'm pressing Alt, clicking on the button, and you can see that down below the other layers of sound, the other soundtracks, have now been muted. So I can bring them back up one at a time, or I can press Alt and click this first one and bring them all back. Especially when you have overlapping soundtracks, you may not want all those soundtracks to be playing at the same time. If you'd like to see the names of the soundtrack clips that you have, you can right-click on one of the soundtracks and then select this which says Show Sound Clip Names. And click on that, and now you can more easily see the names of your sound clips, so they're a little bit easier to arrange. And if you want to get rid of those names so that you can see the waveforms easier, just do the same thing. Right click on one of the soundtracks, uncheck that box. You can link a soundtrack to a current panel to help keep your soundtrack in sync with your picture. The way you can do that is to click on the sound clip that you're interested in. Make sure that your playhead is where you want it. And I'm going to go over here to this link icon. I'm going to click on that link, and now this soundtrack is linked to that panel. So now if I move this panel, the soundtrack clip is going to move with it. So here we go to move it, and you can see that the sound clip moved with it. So I'm going to press undo, and now I'm going to unlink it by clicking on this, and I'm going to unlink the sound clip from the panel by clicking on that link icon again. And now watch what happens when I move that panel. I move the panel, but the soundtrack didn't move with it. Now if I click on the link icon, it deactivates it, as we've seen. But once again, as an alternative, you can press the Alt key down, and now when I press this icon with the Alt key down, it disables the linking on the other ones. And I'm going to press that again, Alt, and then back on that link, and pressing the Alt key affects all the other layers other than the layer that you're working on. Finally, if none of the layers have links activated, pressing the Alt key will activate all of them. Press Alt, and then the link icon, you can see they all get linked all at once. If I unlink it, because one was already linked, that one stays active. The same works for the soundtracks. Right now there are no soundtracks activated. I could activate them one by one, but instead I'm going to press the Alt key and then any one of these icons, and it turns all of them on.